Hey everyone, welcome to your Friday edition of The Nerve. We have so much celebrity idiocy to get to today. Some of it's hilarious, some of it's satanic. I'm guessing you might be able to bet who participant number one is in the latter. This week had so much nerve-centric material, stuff that was just screaming nerve, nerve, nerve. It was hard to winnow it down, but the crack team here at Nerve Central did it. Assurances, my troublemakers. First, The View returned this week. We got a brand new opening, which we're going to take a look at. But with it, we've got even more. Just when Whoopi Goldberg, you think she's settled down, she's like worked out all the craziness and the kinks in that system. No, she never will. People never change, they do change, but like someone like Whoopi, the iron is cast, it's like Han Solo in The Empire Strikes Back at the end, cast in there. So we're going to go all in on that. And we've even got a cameo, just a cameo, not to worry, by one Rosie O. Next, we will have our celebrity updates plus your feedback. And then we are going to skewer. And I mean skewer as if like the barbecue is like blazing with fire. The mistress of dark arts herself, Oprah Winfrey, who is kissing the ring of confessed would-be murderer Elizabeth Gilbert. All while, first things first, her platonic best friend Gayle jockeys for her A++ position. It's real. It's real out here in these streets, okay? It is all happening. So let's go. It's easy to take your oral health and your teeth for granted until something goes very wrong. And it is often months or years of subtle shifts before you even realize you need help. And then you're facing down not just hours in the dentist chair, but the bills. And that just makes you want to put everything off all over again. But what if you could stop a very major, very common problem before it even began? More people grind their teeth while sleeping than they even know, and grinding your teeth for hours every night causes a huge array of problems, from tooth erosion to jaw pain to even TMJ, which can become permanent. That is where Remy comes in. Remy offers affordable, direct-to-consumer custom mouth guards for sleeping, and they sent us some here at The Nerve, and you can see how simple and beautifully packaged this is. They make it so easy. This is how it works. You order your impression kit. It comes straight to your doorstep, step-by-step instructions inside. You make your perfect impression. You ship it back, and then they send you your custom fit night guards made right here in the United States in Las Vegas. So get your night guards back to yourself. It's never too late to start protecting your teeth. And Remy offers a 45-night perfect fit guarantee or your money back. No waiting rooms, no overpriced bills, just a better way to protect your teeth while you sleep. Try Remy risk-free at shopremy.com/nerve and use code NERVE to get up to 50% off your custom-made night guard at checkout. That's 50% off at shop, R-E-M-I, shop, REMI.com/nerve with code NERVE. And thank you, Remy, REMI, for sponsoring this episode. Troublemakers, The View is back on the air this week, along with its roundtable of repeat offenders. But, offender number one, for my money, is one Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know if the Ozempic is responsible for the... what would you call it even? I mean, there's out of touch, and then there's just like your interplanetary levels, Now, so first we get, for View diehards, I don't know who these people are. I was looking on the View's YouTube channel in advance of this piece, and color me shocked. They actually have legit fans. It's not all hate watchers. It's not all people just looking for a little camp with their morning coffee. I mean, there are people who really love this show, and all the ladies of The View, half of whom are now on the jab, like they're half their body weight. It's been interesting to watch Sunny Hostin get like, as she gets skinnier and skinnier, her head gets bigger and bigger, and her hair resembles nothing. So like all I can think of is like the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. And I'm sure that's not an accident. And her face is beginning to look very hard. Like the outsides are truly beginning to match the insides. But first, let's pivot back to Whoopi. I digress. Now, Whoopi, remember, she's an Oscar-winning actress. And she takes her role as an Academy member very seriously. Like, don't F with that with Whoopi. She's like, I'm a member of the Academy, whatever. So she filmed part of this cold open to introduce the new View open and the new View season. And remember, this is an Oscar-winning actress. Now, let's watch this little sketch in which she still believes she's on vacation and a View producer is disabusing her of that fantasy. Let's take a look.
Oh.
She's on a lawn chair with a copy of Grazia
Thank
over
God,
her
I
chest.
thought that was a dream.
I love Grazia.
Whoopi, it's not a dream. You're not in Italy, you're in New York, you're still a host of The View, and we start in 30 seconds. Season 29, come on.
She won't get up.
Who is that?
She won't get up.
Me, come on.
Is someone there?
Whoopi!
Is
Now
someone
she's playing
speaking to
dumb.
me?
Whoopi, we gotta go.
Oh, thank God my drink is still here.
Yeah, I'll settle up for you. Come on, we gotta go.
Her $40 cocktail. Okay, so that's supposed to be funny, but the entire premise of that sketch is that the last thing Whoopi wants to do is go back to The View. It's not like, I don't want to go back to work. I wish summer vacation had a few more weeks in it. I'm lounging on at an Italian villa. No. It's, I hate my job. We know this. We know Whoopi hates her job. And you know how we know? Because not only has she like left plenty of breadcrumbs low these many years, but her disposition on The View is totally miserable and angry. She's never having a good time. She's never having fun. She's just a scold and a lecturing, hectoring bitch, and she's never having fun. And I don't know how this woman still has a job hosting a morning talk show, because what you're supposed to be giving people is light and fun, and you know, she won't do it. So anyway, that in and of itself, I think, is a big FU, both to her colleagues, her co-hosts, the execs at ABC, who for some reason continue to pay this woman a reported $8 million a year. And we're going to get to that. And the audience, the entire viewing audience. Whoopi would rather be elsewhere if she could get another gig, but no one will hire her. And we'll get to why. Now, let's take a look at every year. It's like, oh, what will the ladies of The View do for their new opening? And let's take a look at this. Ooh, here we go.
It's finally over because the co-hosts are back at the table live to kick off season 29 of The View with an entire day of hot topics.
Entire day of hot topics means they could not book any guests. This has been a problem for The View for a very long time. Whenever, and what a humiliation. Your first day back, that should be a powerhouse episode. You should have guest stars that are just like, even if you're not a regular viewer of The View, you're going to tune in to watch, but they can't get them. They can't get them. So a whole day of hot topics. How entertaining. How entertaining. Okay, so now let's take a look at the new photos. Usually they do a whole new photo shoot, like an original photo shoot with, you know, fresh hair, makeup looks, like new makeup looks and new, like, remember last year, I think they were all wearing green, and like the joke online was like, they all looked like they were like Supreme Court justices, like in their minds, they're all idiots, but like they're Supreme Court justices, and they're like taking their formal group portrait, you know, behind the scenes at the United States Supreme Court in some clubby library. No. This year, I guess The View isn't pulling in the ad dollars that it used to, because they just used pre-existing photos of the hosts that were taken, and then they treated them like in black and white. And the one they picked for Sunny, she's not even looking at the camera. She's like looking down, like she's just, you know, hot, you know, she thinks she's everything. And it's like, that to me says that they might be screwing with her a little bit. So anyway, that's what we get. And we also do not get a new theme song. Usually they come up with a new theme song, and they hire new songwriters, and they hire new session musicians, and they hire a new vocalist, but like none of that. So I guess ABC is like closing those purse strings, which, beginning of the end, maybe, I don't know. It's a cheap show to produce, so probably not. It makes headlines for all the wrong reasons. But, today it doesn't really matter, does it? So we were going to show a clip of this, and then we decided against it. Emma Willis, we'll show you an image of her on The View. She is still out here hawking this memoir about her dying husband. She's hawking a memoir. She's dressed. Look at the way the costuming and the makeup and the presentation is like, she's going hard because she's feeling it. She's feeling the heat that's coming out of places like ours. Actually, there's no other place like ours. She's feeling the heat because we are talking the real talk about fake people. So now she's trying to look even more innocent and more sexless. She's just like a schoolgirl in her really prim polka dot first day of school dress, with like her very demure neckline. We've got a little bow there. We've got a little cap sleeve. This is a 40-something-year-old multimillionaire, She would really prefer to be dressed in like, the row, but she can't do it. So she's got to show up like this with her hair in a ponytail and no makeup and the eyewear, because we're smart now. We're a writer, right? This woman like, oh, it's so hard to be caregiver. It's so hard. She hasn't been home in weeks. She's been making the media rounds. She's been having lunch at the Polo Lounge. Get out, okay? Anyway, enough of her. Enough. Now, Whoopi, as I said when describing the intro, Whoopi made the really smart executive decision to give this little interview to Entertainment Weekly ahead of season 29, telling us why she's still at that table. Let's take a look.
Think about going down, just enjoying this.
Yeah.
It's being asked why she hasn't retired.
Who can afford to do that? Who can afford to start? If you don't marry well, you got to keep working.
I feel like you might be one of the people that could afford
What
it.
kind of feminist shit is that?
Not yet.
She can't afford to retire. What is she spending her money on? As I asked vis-a-vis Liz Gilbert in the last Nerve or so, like if you're pulling in $8 million a year, I'm going to say you're netting, again, troublemakers, thank you. I used gross v net incorrectly while I was speaking off the top of my head. Netting, like Tim Dillon's netting 175K at best to go to Chop Chop Square, where they would throw his fellow gay men off the nearest rooftop. Whoopi's probably netting, if she's making $8 million a year, I'm going to say 5 to 6 per year. And she's been on that show for like 10 years. That's the kind of money you get a good financial advisor, you invest, it compounds, and your money makes money. But I think Whoopi is not spending wisely. Why would this be a surprise? She's not wise. So Whoopi loves to sit in what I would call her sagacity, like her self-appointed sagacity. She is an elderly Black woman who's seen some shit, and she's always sitting at that table telling everybody else and the audience in the studio and the audience at home that she knows what's what. She knows what's what, and everybody else can go scratch. Okay, so we decided let's go through some of her greatest hits. Let's celebrate week 1 of season 29 of The View with some of Whoopi Goldberg's greatest hits. These are fun. These are fun. I don't know who's crazier on this panel. Here is, I believe, Rosie O. For a time, actually, she came back as a co-moderator with Whoopi Goldberg because Whoopi wasn't cutting it in the wake of Rosie O. And they were always at loggerheads. They were always fighting over who was the alpha bitch in charge over at the table at The View. Like, these were the fights that would like leak out onto page 6. I mean, each camp was leaking, so anyway, this is how the anger manifests at the table. Whoopi and Rosie are fighting over who understands what racism is. Let's go.
Democrats are racist too. It's our cultural history.
Listen. You are a white lady telling me what is racist to you, which is
gay American who's been told what homophobia and hatred looks like.
It's not the same.
I have a black kid I raised, Whoopi. I have a kid.
She said I have a black kid I raised.
You don't have to be black to know what racism is.
Yes, you do.
That was great. That was really fun. It was fun watching them pull out all their like varied identities, for cred. Well, Whoopi says if you're not black, you don't understand racism. So I don't know what we're doing here in this great experiment known as the United States of America. Leave it to a finer mind, such as Whoopi Goldberg's, who I don't believe really has much of a formal education. Not that that means anything. You can easily be an autodidact. You can teach yourself. You can read and read and read. I mean, some of the smartest people I know never went to college or really don't have like what you would consider a formal education. But Whoopi gets on the air, like another one, like Oprah with their owlish glasses to connote like wisdom, right? Because the owl is the animal symbol of wisdom. Anyway, okay, moving on. I could go on forever. Whoopi, this was a great cut. Whoopi is talking about knowing what it's like, pulling in again a reported $8 million a year. They were trying to figure out the results of the election of 2024 and really what animates working class people. And here's Whoopi on her deep, empathetic understanding because she too is among them.
I appreciate that people are having a hard time. Me too.
Yeah.
I work for a living. If I had all the money in the world,
hour
I would
a day.
not be here.
An hour a day at best. Do you think, okay, let's build in, I'll build in 3 other hours. An hour for her commute. Her driver picks her up, drives her door to door from home to studio. Then another hour in the hair and makeup chair. And there's not a lot of work going on because Whoopi will not wear makeup. She always dresses like a slob on the show, which I, as an audience member, when I find insulting. I think it's really insulting to show up to work wearing clothes that I wouldn't even scrub the tub in. Okay, I think it's a sign of disrespect for your audience and for yourself. So, okay, we'll build in that hour. And then while she's in the hair and makeup chair, it's her producers who are coming in and going over the day's hot topics and giving them all those blue cards that they read from. If you notice, whenever they have a guest, they're never like actively listening to the guest and then picking up on what the guest is saying and then asking a follow-up. It's just like, nope, get to that next card, get to that next question. And so they all look like idiots who really don't pay attention to anything. So anyway, hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, we are on the air working out our anger issues on the hostages of America who are stuck at the DMV or the hospital, which is the only place this show is really airing on the regular. And then hour 4 is getting back in the car and getting our driver to take us home. So 4 hours a day. She's a working class person. Shove it, Whoopi. Tell it to the guy who's out like trying to lay down fresh asphalt on a highway in the middle of the summer. That's a working class member in good standing, you asshole. Okay. Now, I think I have a sense of what it is that Whoopi might be spending all of her money on and why she hasn't invested it properly. She's going to tell us. Let's take a look. She's aggrieved, but she's going to tell us.
I'm a working person, and my kid has to feed her family.
Her kid's like 49.
And my great-granddaughter has to be fed by her family. I know it's hard out there. We talk to people all the time who say, this is what's bothering me. But the thing that's bothering everybody should not be the thing that puts 85% of other people in danger.
In danger. Like that's her inflection from Ghost. Remember when she said to Demi Moore, "You in danger, girl." First of all, I don't know what she's talking about. 85% of people in danger of what? I don't understand. Secondly, so she's a member. She says, "I'm a member of the working class." You're not. Also, your kid's 49 years old. I don't think your kid, your middle-aged daughter who has a child. I mean, Whoopi's not that old. I'm kind of really surprised she has a great granddaughter. I think they all suck at the teat of one Whoopi Goldberg. I think that is where all the money flows. And I don't think that's like a smart play with your money. I really don't. At 49, if I'm right about her kid, her kid should be a self-sustaining entity. Her kid should have money. Her kid should have a job. Her kid should have a career. So if she's a great granddaughter, it means her granddaughter is also an adult, presumably, who would be working as well. I don't know why Whoopi Goldberg is supporting a small village. But that's her problem. That's her choice. That's her decision. Don't turn around and say, I too am now a member of the working class. How many working class people do you know who are supporting their grown children, their grown grandchildren, and then a successive generation after that? They can't. So ergo, you are not a member of the working class. Now, William Maher, this was actually great. You know, broken clocks, right? Twice a day. And in doing the research for this segment, we found, you know, it's one thing to show Whoopi saying this. It's another thing to show other famous people laughing at Whoopi for saying it. So this is, I believe, probably overtime with Bill Maher. This was maybe a year or two ago. So Whoopi had issued the diktat on her show, or the dictate. She's saying, like, unquestionably, don't come for her. She's going to put you in your place. She's saying that blacks in America have it worse than women in Iran. Maybe Whoopi would like to go over to Chop Square. I'm sure they'd pay her at least a cool $1 million. Get that money, whoops. Okay, so Bill Maher and his panel, which consisted of Ken Burns, the documentarian, who needs to find a better hair system. Just my opinion. And Paul Begala, the insufferably smug Dem operative who's been in Clinton world way too long. And then there's a black lawmaker on the panel whose name escapes me. Please forgive me. But they're all laughing it up over this statement. Okay, take a look.
What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? I see we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity. And a second good step would be, we got to do something about The View. I really believe that. I mean, could you just
it's huge in Iran, though.
When I imagine The View in Iran, all with the same head cover. You can't even tell which one is which.
I'm pretty sure that was Ken Burns. I'm taking a look now and I'm like, did I read that guy properly? But anyway, we are in true upside down world when Bill Maher is making points on the board for women and womankind, or womankind. That joke was really funny. The View's big in Iran, and like, can you imagine them sitting there all with in their beekeepers? Can't tell who's who. You would be able to tell Whoopi because she is head bitch in charge at the head of the table, and that arm is always like this. She's always in search of a target. Okay, this is the classic banger. Classic banger. Whoopi on the show in 2022 decided to inveigh against a global historical record that also exists among living survivors and books and museums and recorded footage and documentaries made by 5 of Hollywood's most esteemed directors. If you guys, by the way, and aside, haven't seen 5 Came Back, the HBO documentary series about the esteemed, incredibly brilliant Hollywood directors who gave up everything when World War II broke out and went to the military, the United States military, and said, send me wherever you want. And my job will be to make films of what's going on so you can show them to American audiences so that they will know that the Holocaust is real. Whoopi begs to differ. Let's go.
Tonight, Whoopi Goldberg making controversial comments again, reiterating statements from earlier this year that the Holocaust wasn't about race. The Sunday Times of London
it did happen. It just wasn't about race.
The Holocaust, quote, wasn't originally about race. Also saying, quote, they did that to black people too, but it doesn't change the fact that you could not tell a Jew on a street. You could find me. You couldn't find them.
Yeah, you could. They made them wear gold stars, you fucking moron. The Times said when
the reporter reminded Goldberg that Nazis identified Jews as a race, she rebutted, the oppressor is telling you what you are. Why are you believing them? They're Nazis.
Because they're throwing them into ovens, you asshole.
And deja vu from some critics on social media, including from a Holocaust survivor and author who said Goldberg continues to use the Holocaust as her punching bag. Back in January, Goldberg was responding to reports of a school banning a graphic novel about the Holocaust when she said this on The View.
The Holocaust isn't about race.
No, it's not about race.
They're trying to push back. They're all afraid to push back against the elderly black lady.
It's not about race. What is it about? Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
And doubled down on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
I was saying
he's afraid of her too.
You can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, again, forgive me for taking the Lord's name in vain. I know that offends some of you, but you know, I'm really right to be this angry. You know, and you know what I'm really angry at too? The other women at that table at The View who know a lot better and let Whoopi Goldberg get away with her bullshit. Why? Are they afraid of being called racist if they said, hey, Whoopi, you're absolutely wrong, okay? The Holocaust targeted the Jews. It targeted Catholics too. I think a fair amount of Catholics were rounded up and sent to the camps, but the target was the eradication of the Jewish people. Then she goes over, pre-jab, she toddles over to, Stephen Colbert, where she spouts this bullshit again. And she's probably on there to do some damage control. And she spouts this garbage yet again. And Stephen Colbert sits there and he just, And Stephen Colbert loves to tout himself as such a big Christian. I don't think it's Christian to allow somebody that idiotic, that moronic, to get there and spew that garbage and not push back and say, you know what, sister, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. But nobody will do it. So anyway, Whoopi got suspended for that little stunt for 2 weeks, okay? And then she had to issue a statement that her people wrote. There's no way she wrote the statement that, like, in fact, the Holocaust did target the Jews and it was about race. You know, she doesn't even understand. She's too dumb. But, you know, dumb people can be dangerous. And that's why I object to her having this platform. Now, Whoopi then tried to explain herself to Chris Wallace when he had like a talk show on HBO for a hot minute. Let's take a look.
Nobody wants to hear what you were thinking. They're only saying, that's what you said.
It's our fault.
That your whole life is that. And it's like, wow.
It's like, wow. You know, one of Whoopi's other favorite things to do is like pretend she's a Valley girl, which is such a dated reference. But again, it's a celebrity telling us that it's our fault that we don't understand how she's thinking that informs what she's articulating. But the problem, Whoopi, is you can never explain what you're articulating because you're not a great thinker. You're not bright. Problem solved. Now, two more hits before we leave Whoopi for the time being. She, again, we're going to address this later because I'm going to talk to you guys about Nate Bargatze and some of the feedback we got, a lot of the feedback we got. But here she is doubling down on her defense of everybody knows he's out of prison, but everybody knows Bill Cosby had a problem with drugging women against their will and raping them when they were unconscious. But Whoopi feels differently.
People have been coming after me saying they're going to snatch my family. They're going to come. It's like being Frankenstein. People coming after you with the fire and they're going to burn you. No one here thinks rapists are fun. Nobody here thinks rape or hates women or any of that. So don't come after me like that because I'm sick of this bull. Here's the bottom line for me.
He's the real victim here.
And the American courts agree with me because still, he has not been taken to jail or tried or on anything. So back off me.
No. Now, here she defends Roman Polanski. Whoopi has apparently had this scrubbed from the internet. And why does one have something scrubbed from the internet? Because it's such a colossal piece of self-inflicted damage that it's got to go. But we here at The Nerve, we're archaeologists over here. We're cultural effing archaeologists. Whoopi defending Roman Polanski, who drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at Jack Nicholson's house. She was 12 or 13, excuse me. Let's go.
Was not charged. I know it wasn't rape.
Yeah,
there is a
statutory
child molest.
Rape.
I think it was something. No? It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape. And when we get all the information, somebody will tell me in my ear. All I'm trying to get you to understand
She's a real
is
thinker.
When we're talking about what someone did and what they were charged with, we have to say what it actually was, not what we think it was.
Rape, by the way, has entered the lexicon thanks to Whoopi Goldberg. And by the way, I read the interview of the victim, the contemporaneous interview when she was 12 or 13, and it's enough to make you weep. I mean, she says she wound up like on his bed, and he was like anally raping her, and she was crying, and she was like, I just want my mom. So fuck off, Whoopi. Rape, you asshole. Okay, and by the way, Sherry Shepherd, that other great thinker, was at the table. She was on The View. She was a cast member on The View. I'm going to call them cast members because that's what they are. And Sherry was the one who stuck up for the victim, the Roman Polanski victim, and was trying to tell Whoopi, no, that's rape. And you know it's bad when Sherry Shepherd, once again, this might be a little, not clean audio, or there's no video, but we've got the audio. Doesn't know. I won't spoil it for those who've never heard it. Okay, but we're going to have a discussion about the planet on which we all live. Here we go.
Is the world flat?
Is the world flat?
Yes.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I never thought about it, Whoopi. Is the world flat? I never thought about it.
You never thought about whether the world was round?
No, because but I'll tell you what I've thought about, how I'm going to feed my child,
well,
how I'm going to take care of my family. The world flat has never entered into, that has not been an important thing to me.
Oh my God. Now, I would actually say you could make a causal link between I've never thought about whether the earth was flat. You never learned it. She was busy getting knocked up and getting abortions like 13 times and trying to, quote, feed your family. Having an education is actually extremely, it's a direct, there's a direct line between can you support your family and are you bright enough to know the earth is round? That's The View. Welcome back to season 29. We can't wait to see what you wild ladies cook up for all of us. Jesus Christ. Again, sorry. Okay. Up next, Celeb Roundup and your emails. Back in a minute. Today's show is brought to you by Oxford Natural. If you're trying to lose weight after having a baby or prepping for a wedding, which order, whatever, or you're just ready to feel like yourself again, it is tough, but it's possible. Thousands of men and women across the USA and the UK are already doing it with Oxford Natural. Their Optimum Day powers you with steady energy, it crushes cravings, and it keeps your metabolism firing all day long. Optimum Night helps you relax, sleep deeply, recover, and keep burning fat while you rest. England's soccer legend Michael Owen lost 40 pounds, and Robbie, the face of AF TV, dropped over 100 pounds. Now it is your turn. Scan the QR code or click the link and grab 70% off your first order with code NERVE. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural. Let's get to work. We are back. Now we're going to loop back to the earlier part of the show in which we mentioned William Maher, who, at this point, I don't know if he's trolling or if he's baiting or if he's just like, hey, I'm this sleazy guy in my basement, having really inappropriate discussions with people. Again, nobody at Team Nerve is a prude, but this stuff makes everyone uncomfortable. Okay. So Bill Maher had Drea De Matteo, late of The Sopranos, on his podcast Club Random this week. I feel like random really goes to like whatever fluids and debris and dust mites and things that just shuck off the body are in there. I always say blue light central. So there were just a couple of things we really wanted to share with you guys because the guy he has zero self-awareness at this point. First, he's going to tell Drea, and we all survived together, what I would consider an assault. He didn't hit her or anything, but you know what I mean? Like a verbal, just sexually inappropriate line of questioning with Barbara Eden, a 94-year-old Barbara Eden. So Bill is going to tell Drea why his basement is not akin to, I consider Bill's basement akin to Buffalo Bill's well in Silence of the Lambs, where, he kept his female hostages and to starve them down and everything. Like, that to me is Bill Maher's lair, but he says women have a great time there. Let's go.
This is my favorite to just watch you drink. This is iconic for me to sit here with you. I'm going to
this is
interrupt
embarrassing.
myself.
Thank you.
What are you drinking?
I'm
think she's in recovery.
818 in the hopes of getting the Kardashians to come on this show.
That's their booze, right?
Yeah. Chris was here, but so far, they're avoiding me. I don't know why women have a great time here. We're going to have a great time.
Bill doesn't know why the Kardashians, save Kris Jenner, who I don't think seemed to enjoy herself during her appearance, will not appear on Bill Maher's. Consider Kim Kardashian, quote unquote, broke the internet when she posed for Paper magazine about 10 years ago with her massively inflated ass cheeks, oiled up and shot for the cover of the magazine. So her back was to the camera, and then I think she was facing it like from the side, whatever. She got famous off a sex tape in which she was urinated on, and Bill Maher is a bridge too far. That should tell you something, Bill. But he can't get the message. He doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand. Now, it wasn't enough that Bill caused just about every decent soul in America who was exposed to this to recoil in horror and disgust when he not only brought up OnlyFans to Barbara Eden, but explained to her what it was and that she should be on it. But it's time to revisit this a week later. Let's do it.
Weren't you on OnlyFans? Didn't I read that?
That was people
like Bill hasn't gone and looked it up.
Someone to that is just wrong. Unless you like it.
Oh,
Maybe
Bill, now we're a moralist.
Originally, I was going there to do a podcast, talk about all the shit that I was discovering about what was going on. I didn't want to be censored. And I was already being censored on another podcast I had years before called Gangster Goddess. And I was like, I couldn't even say the word COVID because we were shooting it during COVID. We weren't allowed to even use the word. So I was like, I'm definitely not going to
He's not even making eye contact.
Shit. So I'll do it on OnlyFans, and I'll just talk to men all fucking day because the women lost their motherfucking mind.
Oh, so that was what your OnlyFans channel was? You were just talking
originally.
about?
I set it up to do that, and then I put a picture up as a placeholder, and I fucking was able to save my house within hours.
If you're going to be on OnlyFans, just be on OnlyFans. Don't be like, you know what I was on there for? Intellectual company. I only read Playboy for the articles, said every man in the 1970s. Drea, she's a New Yorker. She made her name on The Sopranos. You would think she would know that that is a line of BS nobody's going to buy. Just be like, yeah, I can't book any jobs anymore. I was never that great of an actress. And like, this is where I make my money. But I'm sorry. This is what happens when you open the door with Bill Maher, and I am in no way blaming the victim because he is a perv, okay? He is the successor. He is the rightful heir to his idol, Hugh Hefner. He loves Hugh Hefner so much that he has successfully fused the two of them into the cultural, like it's a meme in the culture where there's like this very stubborn rumor, and I do not believe it's true for a second, but that Bill Maher is the secret illegitimate son of Hugh Hefner. That's not something to be proud of, okay? But anyway, Bill wants to continue this line of questioning. He doesn't want to talk about COVID mandates or intellectual dishonesty and fraud in the culture. He wants to talk OnlyFans.
You can do anything on OnlyFans. It just happens that men masturbating to naked women is the popular choice but yes, you can do many other things. And I mean, I don't know what you were doing to make men masturbate, but apparently it didn't have to be
I don't even know if that's
much.
what was going on my page.
Oh, Drea. You watch Barbara Eden was a special example because I believe she came up in the industry. She's probably raised during the Great Depression, World War II, and then she enters the entertainment industry, and you can tell she's almost like a product of finishing school, of multi-generational finishing school, and she would have considered it rude. You could tell by her demeanor to get up and walk out. She had agreed to do an appearance on a show. She was going to do that appearance and see it through. But with someone like Andrea De Matteo, you think, God, like they got broken early on. Like she's sitting there taking this misogynistic garbage. He says to her, I don't know what you were doing to make men masturbate on OnlyFans. And she parries back with him instead of being like, you know what? This isn't really what I came here for. Let's just end it now. It's really depressing. Anyway, that's that for now. Bill's back on Real Time tonight. We'll see what's what. Anyway, okay. Prince Harry updates the latest. Harry is, I believe he's probably back in LA by now. He had 4 days in the UK and it was touch and go. Nobody knew if he was going to get his meeting with King Charles, who he hadn't seen in 19 months. He got the meeting. And he swears he is not going to say a single thing about the meeting. He has learned his lesson and he's going to keep his mouth shut until he goes home and tells Meghan everything that happened. And it's going to wind up on Page 6 or TMZ or Radar Online. Because trust me, Meghan Markle is going to make sure that there is no royal rapprochement. Because the cost of doing business there, Meghan can't come back. Harry's got to come back on his own. Trust me, she's going to blow it up somehow. Just my supposition. Now, moving on to your feedback regarding Nate Bargatze. I saw a lot of it and I read the emails. I try to get as much off of the feedback from the YouTube channel as possible. And I know a lot of you were really upset. You were like, Maureen, you don't know Nate. You don't get him. You're obviously new to him. How can you compare him to Bill Cosby? It's not like he's a rapist. I wasn't saying Nate was a rapist. I was saying beware the public moralist. I was saying beware the guy who's out there in the town square going, I'm a good guy. Just keep one eye open. That's all I'm saying. And Nate, he's hosting the Emmys. We are all in. Our Emmy live stream, just another friendly reminder, this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay, and then we all heard from you about Ryan Reynolds and our mini nerve, which clearly struck a nerve. And we've been getting a lot of feedback saying, no, you got to dig further. This guy is darker than dark. And don't worry, we're on it. We've already got Emily over here doing her research. So, we're gonna revisit Ryan pretty soon. Okay, not to worry, my troublemakers, not to worry. Now, to your emails. The subject line, New Yorker crossword today from troublemaker Elizabeth R. Maureen, you have hit a nerve at the New Yorker magazine. Today's crossword, 14 across. This was sent to us on Wednesday, 9/10, so 2 days ago. Hint is blank may care attitude. Could it be the Liz Gilbert, The Nerve episode that got to them? Who knows? Or it just could be MK Media on the whole. This is from troublemaker Chelsea C. Hi, Maureen. Since you are covering Jack Schlossberg and the Kennedys, here's an article. Thank you, Chelsea. I had not seen this article. Here's an article about his cousin Patrick Schwarzenegger snubbing Jack from his wedding. Quote, it felt deliberate. Attached was the link to the MSN reporting the story by Rebecca Friedman that Jack Schlossberg was allegedly snubbed from the invite list. Jack Schlossberg was, quote, left out. This wasn't about space. A guest in attendance at the wedding told Rob Shooter's Shooter Scoop. Rob Shooter's doing a lot of great reportage these days. The ceremony had family everywhere. Arnold, Maria, Catherine, Chris Pratt, but no Jack. Don't feel bad, Jack. You know who doesn't get an invite to any of this stuff? Arnold Schwarzenegger's child, who's now like 29, he's still persona non grata, the great Christian Maria Shriver over there. From troublemaker Joni. Hi, Maureen. This is another one on Jack and Mama Caroline. It's not a great intuitive leap to realize that Jack's Vogue gig, which he no longer has, and Chuck Schumer appointing him to some meaningless, I call it bullshit committee for the 250th anniversary of the nation were results of Caroline making phone calls. Just this troublemaker supposition. Your troublemakers are on it. If Caroline Kennedy were not his mother, Jack Schlossberg couldn't get a free coffee or change for a quarter anywhere. Even Jerry Nadler, the senator who's or the congressman who's stepping down, has stated that there will be candidates who have a record of public service, quote, which he, Schlossberg, does not have, end quote. It is pathetic that Caroline and Jack continue to feast on the corpses of JFK and Jackie. Agreed. From Troublemaker, a non-California girl, on Riyadh and Buddha statues. Okay. Last week, Tim Dillon was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and the two discussed the Chop Chop Festival in Riyadh. Rogan was aghast that Dillon accepted the invitation. Dillon was as flippant about accepting the invite on Rogan as he was when discussing it on his own podcast. Rogan kept pushing him on why he would make this choice. When Dillon asked Rogan if he was attending, what followed was an exchange with many pregnant pauses. Rogan, straining, eventually said no. He was, quote, busy that weekend. A deeply uncomfortable silence hung in the air. From Troublemaker, Patricia. Hi, Maureen. Thanks for your insight on your episode with Elizabeth Gilbert and Oprah. Well, they doubled down on Oprah's book club on YouTube. Trust me, Patricia, we are all over it in the next segment. Patricia points out, one highlight or lowlight is when they talk about, as they say, quote, the phenomenon that was Eat, Pray, Love. They both admit the story was essentially a sham. Of course, Oprah and Liz joke about it, quote, joke about Liz, quote, having it all figured out. Nope. Liz's new book is the next chapter. Yep. Total manipulation. This is how cults operate. You buy into the first thing, thinking you succeeded, but you didn't. Now there's more, and you need to buy into that more to make you feel good about yourself. But you never will, according to Oprah and Liz, because you have to go on and buy into their journey until they figure it out. Patricia, that is brilliant. Dearest Maureen, from Troublemaker, Nadia, you were so right about Liz Gilbert / Beelzebubs. Next move on her book tour, Oprah. And we're going to get to this, the book club with Oprah and Liz at Starbucks. I was profoundly disturbed at this entire interview. The setting was in a coffee shop with Liz and her shaved head, matching green garb. The Illuminati, apparently, the memo is to wear green. Liz, Oprah, and platonic best friend Gayle are all in green in everything we're going to see. And Liz with her black army boots talking about death and dying. Oprah kept waving Liz's book around, which was so obviously earmarked to hell, first stating, quote, this book is going to free so many people. Really? First of all, agreed, Nadia, that's bullshit. Secondly, it's the exact same line that promiscuous Oprah gave to Emma Willis about her bullshit manual for caregivers. This book is going to free so many people. As stated, no, it's not. Now, a book in which they finally get to the attempted murderous chapter, not murderous. Liz somberly reads, I decided I would kill her. I hadn't. Oh, we're gonna get to that soundbite. Okay. Anyway, in the Alexandra Altarpiece in the New York Times, her, quote, friend, author, and fellow bullshit self-help guru Glennon Doyle states of Liz Gilbert, quote, I don't think she really believes in shame. Exactly. Now, for the Glennon Doyles of the world, these bullshit self-help gurus, not having shame is a plus. These are dangerous fucking people. All of them. My opinion. Maureen, Christina, Troublemaker, Christina, I am an OG troublemaker. I love you, but you are way off about Nate Bargatze. I highly recommend you look into him more, as discussed, but respect all of your feedback. Respect it all. Hi, Maureen from Troublemaker Jenna. I wanted to comment on your thoughts on Ryan Reynolds. You are the first person I have heard say these things. I feel the same way. We heard from a lot of people who were like, finally, we can say this out loud. Like, we're all fucking creeped out by Ryan Reynolds. All of you were like, his eyes creep me out. They are black pools of death. They are. My opinion. Back to Jenna's email. He strikes me as being, say what you think, Jenna. He strikes me as being a very controlling asshole, and I never understood why he was so beloved. I have felt this way for many years and have never enjoyed any of his work for this reason. And now we can all luxuriate in the knowledge that our intuition, as discussed with author Elizabeth, sending the right message. So I love this for Ryan, and I'm very excited for our follow-up Ryan segment. That was great. Thank you. A quick reminder, keep that feedback coming. You know, we here at Team Nerve, we're getting ready. Like, we're gathering up all the props, all the wardrobe, all of the goodies, all of the merch, which is going to go live. Our Nerve shop will be live on Emmy night. So we're very excited. But in the meantime, in our downtime, we won't have much of it, but we would love nothing more than to read your emails, your DMs, and your feedback. So find me at Maureen@devilmaycaremedia.com for emails, or DM me on Instagram at Maureen Callahan Writer or at The Nerve Show. And please remember to like, subscribe, and spread the word. We're doing Emmy night with our simultaneous merch launch, all because of you guys. We're creeping our way up to 250K subs within like 4 or 5 months. It's wild. And we can't wait to give you more and more stuff, which we are brainstorming about all the time. So thank you for everything that you continue to contribute to The Nerve. We're going to be talking to you live on Emmy night, and we're going to be back here in a minute. Did you know that all chips and fries used to be cooked in tallow up until the 1990s? That's when big corporations switched over to cheaper processed seed oils. And today, seed oils make up 20% of the average American's daily calories. Recent studies have linked seed oils to metabolic health issues and inflammation in the body. But Masa chips are different. They've created a delicious tortilla chip with just 3 ingredients and no seed oils. Just organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. And these chips taste incredible. They are also crunchier and sturdier than other chips on the market. They leave you satisfied, light, and energetic. No crashing, no bloating, no gross, sluggish feeling afterwards. The beef tallow makes the chips much more satiating, so you won't find yourself uncontrollably binging and still feeling hungry after. These chips also come in a variety of flavors. Original, my favorite, white, blue, lime, cobanero, and churro. Are you ready to give masa a try? Go to masachips.com/Maureen and use code Maureen for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/Maureen, code Maureen for 25% off your first order. And if you don't feel like ordering online, no problem. Starting in October, Masa will be available nationwide at your local Sprouts supermarket. It's available at my local market out here, and I love it. So you'll be able to buy them in person, online, whatever you want. Stop by Sprouts in October, pick up a bag before they are gone. We are back. Okay, we have a new Chiron for you guys, and a new graphic that was Marlena's brainstorm. And I said, do you think you could add a little thing like this to it? And you know what she's always like? Yeah, you bet. She never says no. It's amazing. It's like she's a true product of improv where you never say no. When you're with your scene partner, you say yes and, right? So anyway, we are bringing you our first ever Dwarf Minds Satanic Summit. I think these 3 people are satanic, and I think you all would agree with me, okay? Now, first, we've got Liz Gilbert on CBS Mornings with Oprah. Why Oprah is treating CBS Mornings as like her linear home, her linear television home, now that she no longer has her talk show. It's actually really, like, I find it humiliating for her. Oprah used to have the #1 talk show in the Western world, I think, in syndication. And now she's got to show up on her grubby ass friend Gayle's loser morning show. Gayle is such a loser. I'm sorry, but this woman is a true Nepo baby. She's our first Nepo baby who's actually just the spawn of her platonic best friend, who was way more successful and charismatic. I mean, and I say charismatic people can be really dangerous. If you've ever seen Night of the Hunter, Robert Mitchum, charisma for days, satanic. So anyway, so we're sitting with Gayle in her new wig. I think it's a wig, just saying. We got plans for Gayle on Emmy night, by the way. So anyway, the three of them are sitting on the set, and Gayle's going to ask Oprah how she decided to pick Liz Gilbert's new book, in which Liz Gilbert talks about helping her girlfriend break her sobriety of 27 years. And then she's dying of cancer, and the girlfriend decides she's going to stop chemo. And Liz says it was her girlfriend's decision to stop chemo. And I think, why trust a lying liar? Because we know Liz Gilbert's a liar. And I don't trust that Liz Gilbert didn't try to hasten this end, because I think it may have been as dark. Look at this, by the way. I pulled this out. This is the New York Times, one of like multiple pieces they've done on Elizabeth Gilbert in this book. This is from Tuesday's edition. Eat, Pray, Love to Mulling a Murder. And look at that glamour shot. Okay. Art direction and photo editing in pieces, whether they be digital or physical, tell you everything. And what the New York Times is telling you is to feel sorry for and marvel at this attractive, wealthy, white, blonde woman who thought she was plotting to kill her girlfriend, who had become a terrible burden. Liz is going to tell us as much here. And I think this is kind of like a Truman Capote thing, where, you know, when Truman Capote was writing what is considered his masterpiece, In Cold Blood, I beg to differ, but that's another segment for another time. You know, he really wanted the subjects of his book, the two murderers, one of whom he fell in love with. They were headed for death, the death penalty. They were headed for their execution, rather. They were on death row. And they had implored Truman to use his money, his clout, his power, his access to famous and wealthy people to get them some sort of reversal or stay. And Truman didn't do it. And he didn't do it because he needed them to die so he could finish the book that he knew was going to be his masterpiece and that was going to make him rich and famous beyond his wildest dreams. And I think Truman Capote was a psychopath. Read Gerard Clark's book, Capote, the biography. Stunning. It reads like a novel. Now, that's what I think. And I think Liz Gilbert is cut from the same exact effing cloth. Okay. But anyway, so here's the setup. It's Gayle and Oprah are facing each other on the vast CBS morning set, which is so emblematic of the great nothing that show contains in terms of anything of intellectual value. And then seated center is Liz, the author. Okay. The guest star, the person of the moment. But watch as Liz, it sits there like a bump on a log, sorry to use a cliche, while Gayle and Oprah engage in their love language. Let's go.
Well, it wasn't surprising to me because the moment I started reading All the Way to the River, first of all, I love the title because it's about All the Way to the River represents who will go with you all the way to the river.
Yeah.
To your death.
You are one of my all the way to
say it.
Yes.
Yeah. All the way
I
to
feel
the
the same
friends.
about you too. Yeah.
So Liz is like looking at them back and forth like she's at the US Open. I feel the same way about you too. Oh, you're the one I'll take to the river. I feel the same way about you too. Oh my God, just get down on your knees, Gayle, and let us all see what you were doing in Venice with Oprah. Just tie her effing shoelaces. Just wash her feet like Jesus with the lepers or the poor people. Just wash her fucking feet. You want ratings? That'll get you ratings. Now, a brief detour. Let's look at Oprah and Gayle arm in arm entering the Ralph Lauren fashion show on Wednesday. And then they're sitting together. They're pressed up against each other. They are pressed up against each other. And the song that is playing is a cover of the Bee Gees. Love the Bee Gees. More Than a Woman. More Than a Woman. Again, if you haven't seen the Bee Gees HBO documentary, watch it. It's incredible. And Oprah is mouthing the words like she's in bliss. She's in heaven. She's mouthing the words to more than a woman to me, with her back pressed against Gayle's side. They look like Siamese twins. When I tell you that these people hide in plain sight, that they tell us who they are, trust me, they do. Just saying, just my opinion. Now, back to CBS Mornings. Oprah is going to talk about, this is as direct a paraphrasing as I could possibly give you. How brave it is. Oprah's dark. She's demonic. I think she's demonic. Oprah talks about how brave it is that Elizabeth admits in the pages of a book that she had planned out to the letter how to murder Rhea.
She's so brave, revealing all of these things that we were just talking in the back.
Like what?
Like most of us would have kept to ourselves.
Yes.
like she is helping her partner die and being the caregiver that so many of you are out there. But
talk to Emma Willis.
To the realization that she really wants to kill her.
Yes.
And most people would not admit that I'm taking care of you and it's become so overwhelming that I now actually want to kill you.
No, Elizabeth, you're right. Rhea was addicted to drugs, but you were addicted to people. You talk about a love and sex addiction.
Oh, let's divert our eyeballs.
Yeah.
Liz had problems
thank you.
too. Now Liz laughs. Liz with her shaved head and her androgynous Buddha bullshit cult shit. The way Oprah framed that, by the way, there's a difference between I'm taking care of this older person or this very, very sick person whose needs and demands have become so onerous that I could kill them. A colloquial, very human expression. There's a difference between that, Oprah, and a difference between a woman who says, I plan to swap out her chemo meds for fentanyl, which killed, Michael Jackson, which is killing people left and right. People think they're buying cocaine and it's laced with fentanyl and they die, and then when she's knocked out, I'm going to take a pillow and I'm going to put it over her face and I'm going to smother her to death. That's a murder plot. She's a psychopath. And all three of, Oprah, you're a psychopath, I think. Gayle, you're a psychopath, I think. I don't think this is funny. And I think you should all really have a lot to answer to for trying to convince the women of the world that they should buy this book and look up to Liz Gilbert. Okay, here's Elizabeth. I think this is from Oprah's podcast. Okay, now we're going over to Oprah's podcast, which our troublemaker just mentioned, which is being held at a Starbucks, which is clearly a sponsor, and they're in green, and green is the color of life. They should be in black. These people they embody death. They embody the worst. So Elizabeth is going to tell us, and again, why we should believe a word this woman has to say. I don't believe it. She's going to tell us that she heard Rhea, her dead girlfriend, talking to her, telling her that not only should Elizabeth write this book, she needed to write this book.
I heard a voice that I knew was Rhea.
And you knew it was Rhea.
I knew it was Rhea.
Rhea's
and
dead by
I
now.
just grabbed this notebook and as trying to keep up with her, started writing down, which is the first chapter of the book, in which she says to me, and at that point she'd been dead for five and a half, 6 years.
Yes.
She said, it's time for you to write this book. It's time for you to tell this story. It's time for you to tell the entire story. Don't hold anything back. Go, in her words, full punk rock with it.
Full punk rock.
Lay it all on the table. Don't
Oprah
protect
saying
my
full
dignity.
punk rock. Kill me now. Okay, this is bullshit. That's Elizabeth talking to herself. You know what happened? I think, because I've read just about all the articles that have come out because I got my eyes on this bitch. She had a novel that wasn't working out. And, she spent all her money and she needs money. And she doesn't have the kind of money where she could go to her publisher and say, this isn't working out. I'm just going to give you back my advance. She had to come up with another book. What is she going to do? She's going to mine this. She's going to mine this. And the idea that this woman would say to her, do not spare, don't worry about my dignity. Don't save my dignity. Just go, quote, full punk rock. I don't know anybody who would say that. I recall my dad died about a year and a half ago. And when my brother and I went to clean out his place, we did a couple of visits. We would find objects, documents, things he had saved. And there would be items where my brother would say, I'm not going to open that. That's private. That's his. And I didn't even have the awareness at the time because I was so sort of overwhelmed with the feeling of being around all of his things and without him there. But I thought to myself, oh, how incredibly decent. Yes, that's right. That's absolutely right. I, on the other hand, as an investigative journalist, I love to know everything, but I was like, no, that's absolutely right. You have to honor your dead and you have to respect them and keep their dignity in death and things that they might not have left out, knowing that they may be found. So, fuck Elizabeth Gilbert. That's my long way of saying fuck this bitch. Now, Oprah's going to talk about, again, I'm not even going to set it up. Just listen.
I have to say, considering who you are in the world, and the world's impression of who you are in the world. This is the bravest thing I've ever seen. It's just the bravest thing because you could have just kept this story to yourself and allowed people to think that you had eaten and prayed and loved and everything was still just perfectly okay. But instead, as I said, you have opened up your soul in such a way. This book is going to free so many people.
No, it's not. This book has harmed and destroyed Rhea's reputation. It has harmed and destroyed Rhea's friends, from what I've been hearing. It has harmed and destroyed Rhea's family. I believe there's at least one close family member who is not on board with this book. Elizabeth Gilbert is not opening her soul. And you know why, Oprah? Because like you, she doesn't have one. And put away your line about this book freeing people. And by the way, this is the bravest thing you've ever seen. Haven't you interviewed Nelson Mandela? Didn't you interview him? I mean, really, just stop it. Just stop. Now we're going to talk about money, wealth, and Liz is going to try to give another garbage explanation. I think another complete lie as to why she was made a very wealthy woman by her own writings and lost all that money. And keep in mind, she writes in this book, and this is part of it that I do believe is true, she was blowing through her money on street drugs, getting hardcore opiates, putting her girlfriend up in a penthouse apartment in the East Village, buying her all this designer stuff. So, but Elizabeth is going to have an explanation that is going to only redound to her benefit and make her look even more beatific and generous.
I suddenly became really rich, and I had such a low sense of self-worth that I was like,
nope.
This is a karmic accident. I was never supposed to be somebody who was rich. I was supposed to be a starving artist. I can't even hold this money without feeling deeply uncomfortable with it. It's not mine. Like the feeling I had was, it's not mine. It's coming to me, but it's not mine. It's for whoever wants it, which is also how I've always felt about my body.
Wow.
It's not mine.
Creepy.
It's for whoever wants it. So
you opened yourself up to that.
So the incident that you are discussing is that I walked down the street of my small town in New Jersey and started giving money to people. I started walking into local businesses. It was after 2008, after the stock market crashed. And I was like, oh, these people need. Like wherever there was need, I was like, oh, they need it. You know? And I believe I am a deeply generous person. Yeah. But this was crazy.
Who wanted to kill my girlfriend?
This is crazy. I was walking up to strangers and being like,
I'm a generous person too, but I'm not that.
Oprah's not a generous person. She's not. We know this. Maui, wildfires. Hey, why don't you donate? Why don't you donate? The most recent volcano over in Hawaii, and they said, yeah, go through Oprah's road. Go look at our nerve. We have video of people who are trying to escape, and they said, Oprah's road is closed. I'm at Oprah's road. Look at it. It's closed. Oprah, lady, open your effing road. It took her 3 hours by all reports. So Oprah, we know you're not generous. And Liz's story is it's another bag of bullshit, because in 2008, that's post Eat, Pray, Love. She's made a ton of money. Julia Roberts has starred in the movie. She's living in a really wealthy area, a really well-off area. How many people you think in her area need money? She's like, I'm just giving my money away. No. I think it went somewhere else. Just my opinion. Now Elizabeth is going to tell us about her belief as to how and why she is transcendent. And guess what? The rest of us are too.
It's extremely uncomfortable being a spirit in human form.
Yes.
I don't personally believe that we come from this planet. I think we visit here. And I think we make this decision to come to what I call and many people call Earth School.
So this is just more slop for her cult. Oprah, sharpen those chops. Okay, you've gotten soft in your dotage with your platonic friend Gayle in Venice, getting your shoelaces tied. Elizabeth Gilbert sits there and says to you, I don't believe we come from this planet. That is some Scientology level stuff. The follow-up, the only follow-up is, Liz, then where do you think we come from? it reminds me of that scene in Annie Hall when Woody Allen goes to visit Annie's family, like in suburban New Jersey, and a very young Christopher Walken plays her brother, and he comes up to Woody Allen, who's like up in her bedroom or her childhood bedroom or something, and he starts speaking like he's out of his mind on something. He starts speaking all kinds of gibberish, and Woody Allen's sitting there, and he's taking it all in, and he's completely like, the face is deadpan, and he says, yeah, that's really, really interesting. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm needed back on planet Earth now. That's what I would have said to an Elizabeth Gilbert, and then get off my stage. Okay, anyway, Liz is, the book's not all, you guys. The book's not all. We've got a documentary coming because Liz thought what a great idea it would be. And again, if you have ever cared for anybody who is dying, who is terminal, the last thing you're doing is calling up a documentary crew to record their final inglorious days. But not only did Liz decide to do that, we've got a lot of footage in here of Rhea out of her mind on drugs. And there's nothing more unsettling. Few things. There are plenty of unsettling things, but like to watch somebody out of their mind on drugs as a sober person is profoundly unsettling. But Liz thinks it's great for public consumption. So let's take a little sneak peek at that.
During Rhea's last year of life, award-winning filmmaker Mark J. Francis followed Liz and Rhea through some extraordinary moments of love, loss, and their search for meaning.
I'm just asking for a little grace.
It's Rhea.
A little mercy.
Liz is pretending to be asleep, my opinion.
Please help me.
That's Rhea. Please help me. Now we see her taking pills.
Okay. I like a chick that likes to keep me drugged up.
That's me. Little Miss Cotton Socks. So Rhea says on screen, and she looks out of her mind, I like a chick that loves to keep me drugged up. That's an indictment. You have to wonder how much like Rhea was cogent about what's going on over here. And off screen, Liz is treating it like it's a funny aside. She says, ha, 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 that's me, Little Miss Cotton Socks. Little Miss Murder on my mind. Let's hear the woman tell us herself. Let's hear it and look at her own words. Let's go.
I say in the book, I'm the nice lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and I was going to murder. I was actually going to murder. It was in July of 2017 that I came up with a really good idea for what would save me from the nightmare that I was now trapped in with Rhea. I decided I would kill her.
So how low had it gotten at that point?
That's how low it had gotten.
Wrong question, Oprah.
And I hadn't slept in weeks. I was absolutely in the lowest of my degradation of codependency, enabling, like my life had become sort of Sid and Nancy. You know, just this I was acting in ways and doing things that I never imagined I could have done. But that wasn't why I was upset. I was upset because she was being mean to me.
So we twist that around to I was at the lowest of my depths of addiction and codependency and enabling and degradation. But by the way, none of those were the real reason I was upset. I was upset because she was being mean to me. And you know what? Oprah sitting there and talking this out as if it's just another therapy session and taking all of this as if it's like valid stuff to be saying, let alone thinking and plotting and about to do. This is the direct result of Oprah's influence on the culture when she was at her height. She birthed and nurtured and fertilized and grew and cultivated and celebrated this culture of malignant narcissism. And the result is we've got a desperate has-been hack writer sitting on that stage using her dead girlfriend's pain and misery to sell her book in which she admits she was about to murder her and had a plan. And Oprah sits there and nods her head and says, how low did that get? That's it. That's it for today's edition of The Nerve. I think it was a banger. Tell us if you agree. Now, a couple of programming notes. We will see you back here tomorrow for the mini Nerve. I put a little teaser to the mini in my carousel on Instagram on Thursday morning, so you might be able to guess what that is. And I actually am really looking forward to this one. I've been circling this topic for weeks now, and it's thematically related to our live stream for Emmy night, because I am of two minds when it comes to Hollywood. Like, I really love old Hollywood, and I love cinema, and I love cinema as like such an American, the French invented it, but America really perfected it and has pushed it. And it's one of our top cultural exports. And I love the Dream Factory. I love all of that stuff. And then there's the other side of me that knows and accepts that it is a very, very dark, dark place. And so this mini will strike that. And I think some of you, your minds are going to be blown. So again, we will see you there, 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Saturday at YouTube. That's where the minis are for now, only on YouTube. Then Sunday evening, join us, our very first live Nerve. We begin at 6 p.m. ET, and be active in the YouTube chat and on DMs and emails, and we will be talking back and forth to you guys live, you troublemakers. And if you have specific questions or celebrities you want the panel to discuss on Kinsey's show, Kinsey's going to be among our panelists. We have 2.5 other panelists who have yet to be revealed. We want to give you guys some treats to look forward to. But send in anything that you're sort of wanting us to comment on in terms of the attendees or the nominees or stylists, red carpet stuff. And we're going to be unveiling our Nerve merch on the live stream. And then you can go to the Nerve shop and buy whatever strikes your fancy. We're all very, very, very excited, and we cannot wait. We're having a full weekend with you guys. We've got a full 3-day weekend. Friday Nerve, Saturday mini, and Sunday live stream. It's amazing. It's a party. It's a party. We can't wait. We can't wait. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for a full wrap up, a full Emmy wrap up, and more Nerve fun. So have a great weekend. We'll see you throughout it. And we'll see you hopefully live on Emmy night at the Nerve, where you will never guess what we're about to say next.